Hello everyone, and welcome back to our mini-series on sorting algorithms. Last time we talked about selection sort, and today we'll be continuing along with our discussion on comparison sorts by talking about bubble sort. Now, bubble sort actually has a much simpler algorithm than selection sort, while also being faster in terms of time and space complexity. It's also used as the basis for our next two sorting algorithms after this one, odd-even sort and cocktail shaker sort. So make sure you're paying attention, because the methodology talked about today will be used in the future. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into what bubble sort actually is. By definition, bubble sort is a simple, comparison-based, stable algorithm which repeatedly steps through an unsorted list, compares adjacent elements, and swaps them if they are in the wrong order. The algorithm then repeats this process until the list is sorted. If you think about it, this is literally the simplest way to sort a list. Go through and just keep swapping elements if they're in the wrong order until the entire list is in the correct order. With that being said, the simplicity that comes with bubble sort also brings with it the stipulation that bubble sort is, well, not very good. It's incredibly time inefficient to continually swap elements until a list is sorted, and this certainly comes into play when talking about where bubble sort gets implemented in computer science. That's for later though. Right now, let's go over the actual bubble sort algorithm. To start off, we need two variables: a boolean to store whether or not we swapped values during a particular pass through the list, and also a traversing index. The second step is to set swapped values equal to true. Then, for step 3, we use a while statement and check that while swapped values is equal to true, we enter in a particular loop. At the beginning of this loop, we set swapped values equal to false, and then traversing index equal to 0. Then we start at the traversing index and go through the list until the second to last element of the list. We only go to the second to last element because, as you'll see in the next step, we end up comparing the element at the traversing index to the element at the traversing index plus 1 and swap if necessary. If we tried to traverse the entire list, we would end up performing this comparison on the last index and the last index plus 1. This would result in an array out of bounds error. Only traversing the list to the second to last index still lets us compare every element in the array while also preventing unwanted errors. Back to step 3i, like I said, if the element at the traversing index is greater than the element at the traversing index plus 1, we know that we need to swap the two elements in order to keep the list in sorted order. So we do that, and then we also set our swapped values variable equal to true. This is because we now know that the list wasn't completely sorted when we started this run through the list, and so we have to go through it at least one more time. Think of swapped values like a tripwire. If any one of our pairs of elements triggers this tripwire that causes the boolean to be set equal to true, then we know that we need to keep swapping values in our list. We'll know that the list is sorted when we can go through the entirety of the list without setting off the tripwire, or, in literal terms, when we can go through the entirety of the list without swapping values. Then and only then is our list completely sorted. The next step is to increase our traversing index by 1, so that we're ready for the next comparison. Finally, we just keep repeating our comparisons until we reach the end of the list. Once we do, we repeat steps 3 until we can pass through the entire list without setting the swapped values variable equal to true. Then and only then can we exit the function and know that our list is completely sorted. Just like last time, this sometimes doesn't make too much sense unless you actually see it in action. So let's again pull up a list of 5 elements that are out of order and perform a bubble sort on it. We start off by declaring our two variables, swapped values and traversing index. Step 2 then requires us to set swapped values equal to true. Then, since swapped values is equal to true, we enter our loop. We immediately set swapped values equal to false. Let's also represent the traversing index on our visuals, and then start off through our list. We compare the value at the traversing index, or 10, with the value 1 above the traversing index, or 5. Immediately, we know that we need to swap the two, since 5 is less than 10, and so we do that. This means we also set swapped values equal to true, since we know that the list isn't sorted and have to make at least one more pass through the list. Essentially, we've tripped our tripwire by swapping these two elements. Nevertheless, we increase traversing index by 1, and again compare the value stored at that index to the one above it. 10 is greater than 7, so we need to swap those two elements as well. We again increase our traversing index and check 10 against 12. 10 is less than 12, and so we don't need to swap the two elements and can instead just increase our traversing index. Again, you'll notice that the value at the traversing index, 12, is greater than the value at the traversing index plus 1, 2. This means that once again we swap the integers 12 and 2. We have now reached one full pass through our list. Congratulations! Things look a little more sorted than before. Most notably, you can tell that 12 is in its correct place in the list. But we still have work to do. This is, of course, evidenced by the fact that our swapped values boolean is still equal to true, meaning we can't break out of the while loop just yet. And so, we start off again and set swapped values equal to false and traversing index equal to 0 as we prepare to start the process all over again. We compare 5 to 7. That's good, no swaps need to be made there, and so we increase traversing index. Then we compare 7 to 10. And again, no swaps need to be made, so we can increase traversing index once again. Then we compare 10 to 2, and in this case, swaps do need to be made. So we swap the two values and set the swapped values boolean to be equal to true. We have set off our tripwire, and so we know that we need to go into the list and sort it at least one more time. We increase traversing index and compare 10 to 12. We don't need to swap these values, and so again, we have completed another pass through our list. Since swapped values is still equal to true, we can't break out of our loop just yet, and so we start over, setting swapped values to false and traversing index to 0. On this third pass through the list, 5 gets compared to 7, and no swap is required, so we increase the traversing index. Then, 7 gets compared to 2, and in this case, we do need to swap. In doing so, swapped values also get set to true, and we increase our traversing index. 7 is less than 10, and no swap is required, so we increase the traversing index once more. Finally, 10 is less than 12, so the third full pass is completed. Again, since swapped values got set to true on our last pass through the list, we need to go through the list again. We set traversing index equal to 0 and swapped values equal to false. We compare 5 to 2 and swap the two, since 5 is greater than 2. Now at this point our list is sorted, but the computer doesn't know that yet. In the computer's mind, we still have to go through the list at least one more time. Let's speed things up, since I think you guys get the idea at this point. 5 is less than 7, 7 is less than 10, 10 is less than 12. A completely sorted list. Only again, the computer still doesn't know that. We still set off our tripwire early on in this list by swapping 5 and 2, and so the computer needs to go through the list one more time to ensure that everything is in the correct place. We set swapped values equal to false and traversing index equal to 0. At this point, let's just speedrun this pass through the list. 2 and 5, 5 and 7, 7 and 10, 10 and 12. The computer will compare all the values, and since we didn't set off our tripwire by swapping any values, the swapped values boolean stays false. This satisfies our exit condition since we now know that the list is completely sorted. Now that we've seen the algorithm work on a small scale, let's blow it up and look at it on a large scale visualization. We'll start off with around 30 elements. As the bubble sort goes to work, take notice of how the larger elements in the list bubble to the top. This is a result of them being repeatedly swapped and swapped until they get to the top of the list. This bubbling to the top is where the algorithm gets its name. If we do the same sort on a much larger list, you'll see more of the same. Larger elements bubble to the top, and smaller elements sink down to the bottom. Again, we'll have a video coming out in the next few days with more of these visualizations if you're interested, so stay tuned for that. Up next though, we need to talk about time and space complexity. The time complexity for a bubble sort is as follows. Its best case scenario is O of n, its average case scenario is O of n squared, and its worst case scenario is also O of n squared. Now, bubble sort having an O of n best case scenario equation is a little misleading. In the best case scenario, the list is going to be given to us sorted, so we only have to go through the list once without setting off our tripwire, and we can ensure that the list is sorted. If you remember, with selection sort, this wasn't possible given the way that it was coded. Of course, there's almost no chance that any list you're given is going to be already sorted, but this does help out in other scenarios which I'll talk about in a bit. Its average and worst case scenario equations are O of n squared because of how inefficient bubble sort actually is. Since we only ever swap two values at a time, it takes quite a while for a large element that started at the bottom of the list to bubble to the top, or vice versa for a small element which started at the top to sink down to the bottom. This makes its average and worst case scenario time complexity equations incredibly inefficient. As for space complexity, bubble sort is a stable O of 1. If you missed our discussion on the stability of sorting algorithms, I'd watch last week's episode, which is linked in the description, where we talk about this in detail. But the gist of it is that a stable sorting algorithm retains the order of duplicate elements in the list. And then of course, O of 1 simply means that no extraneous memory is required to sort this list. So there they are, the time and space complexity equations for bubble sort. A little more efficient than selection sort, but still incredibly inefficient compared to other sorts that we'll talk about. And because of that, bubble sort's common uses are few and far between. Bubble sort is, well, very simple and inefficient. This means that it doesn't get a lot of practical use in computer science. In fact, many computer scientists have referred to it as the generic bad sorting algorithm, mainly used to introduce the concept of sorting algorithms to computer science students without bombarding them with complicated sorts. While it is often the butt of the computer science community, bubble sort still does find itself being implemented in the nooks and crannies of comp sci, mainly through the examples that I just used. Introducing some core concepts of computer science such as stability and time and space complexity to younger computer science students. It can be incredibly useful in establishing a baseline for other, more efficient sorting algorithms to build off of. Also, bubble sort can be very useful for detecting small errors in lists that are already almost sorted. Bubble sort's best case scenario O of n time complexity carries over to almost sorted lists as well. Given an almost sorted list, bubble sort can turn it into a sorted list with a good amount of efficiency. This gets implemented mainly in error checking for computer graphics, where we want to make sure the X and Y pixels are sorted before displaying the image to the user. And with that concludes our discussion on bubble sort, a simple, in-place, stable sorting algorithm which repeatedly swaps elements that are out of order until the list is sorted. If you're confused at all about any of the sections of this video, there are timestamps below which will take you to the sections of the video in which we discuss each topic. And if that doesn't answer your question, drop it in the comments below. If you're looking for more computer science content, check out the playlists on our channel to continue along your computer science journey. Thank you for watching.